Hi everyone. So, after watching the clip of, I think it was Harriet or Henrietta, I don't remember, and the therapist, they talked about her, what her goals were, and what her thinking and behaving goals were going to be, or what she was going to think and do after the therapy session. And it's hard, I think, to analyze these sometimes when you only get to see a few minutes of the clip or the session. But it seems like in her counseling session she was having some sort of relationship problem, either marital problems, maybe they got divorced, or maybe a breakup or something, because she talks about letting him go. So I guess the first question, her thinking and behaving goals. And so he asked her, when you leave the session and you're driving in your car or whatever, what are you going to be thinking about, based on our session? And she had said, she would be thinking about how whoever he was, the guy, had sabotaged or was sabotaging their relationship. She would think about how she should not be isolating herself, and that she needed to feel good about herself being alone. Those were her thinking goals, or what she was going to be thinking about when she left the session. And then her behaving goals, he asked her, what are you going to do, based on, what we've talked about our session. And she said she was going to continue to go to meetings. I'm assuming that's meetings with her therapist, which I guess that means the guy in the video wasn't her therapist, so I don't really know how that, what that means. But she did say she would continue going to the meetings, and then that she was going to keep trying to let him go. And the therapist kind of made a comment about how that was tentative or something like that. And she asked him, well, what should I do? And so he didn't give her an answer, which was good. And that kind of, shows an example of the theories and stuff we've been talking about, is that he wasn't there to give her an answer. He wasn't there to tell her what to do. He was telling her, he wanted her to come up with the goal or with the answer. And so when she said, well, what should I do? He said, no, I think you've got a goal. You're on the right track. So he was making sure that she knew that it was her goal. It wasn't him giving her a goal, because it means more. A goal means more. A goal is going to be something that you work harder towards if it's your goal, not a goal that somebody else gave you. So I liked that part of it. I guess I would have to think that based on that, he's a person-centered therapist, because he was not trying to diagnose her or prescribe her something. He was just kind of talking to her and building a relationship, and then having her create her own goals. He wasn't giving her the answers. And then the question, how would you use this? this technique. And I guess I don't know if I really understand what the question is. What technique? I'm assuming that means the thinking and behaving goals. So I would, when working with kids, middle school kids is kind of my goal. So I would, I guess kind of the same thinking, kind of part that he said would be, when you leave here from talking with me, what is it that you're going to be thinking about later on today, or when you have some quiet time, when you're reflecting over our session and what we talked about, what are you going to be thinking about? What are you going to be processing over in your head? And so then kind of ask them that. And then the behaving part of it would be, what are you going to do? So tell me, what are your plans for change? What are your plans? Maybe if we meet once a week, what are your plans for the week as far as what we talked about? Do you have any plans to change any of these behaviors? Or do you have, maybe just pick one. If there's several things going on, pick one plan, one goal that you can work on for the week. And then we can reflect on it next week or during our next meeting and see how that went. But having them create some sort of doing goal. If it's a behavior issue that they're having in class, or whatever, they can come up with a way that they're going to change that behavior for the week and see if that makes any positive changes for them. Or if it's just a thinking problem, maybe they're thinking negatively about themselves or something like that, have them think about what they can change in their behavior, their thinking behavior for the week. That would be a goal for them. So that is my answers to that question.